In the distant kingdom of Arcadia, where the forests were dense and the mountains were high, there lived a young knight named Eldric. He was not from a noble family, but his heart was burning with a thirst for exploits and justice. Since childhood, Eldric dreamed of becoming a great hero, whose name would be written in golden letters in the annals of the kingdom. His father, a simple blacksmith, taught him how to wield a sword, and his mother, a wise woman, instilled in him the concepts of honor and virtue. One day, when Eldric turned 20, the news spread in the kingdom that a terrible dragon had appeared in the distant Dragon Ridge Mountains, which terrorized the surrounding villages. The king of Arcadia has announced that whoever defeats the dragon will receive the title of Hero of the Kingdom and the hand of Princess Liana. Eldric, without hesitation, took his sword and shield and set off on his way. The beginning of the path. After leaving his native village, Eldric went to the east, where, according to rumors, there was a dragon's lair. His path led through dense forests inhabited by wild animals and bandits. On the first day of his journey, he encountered a gang of robbers who tried to take away his weapon and horse. But Eldric, thanks to his skill, managed to defeat them. He did not kill the robbers, but only tied them up and left them on the road to be found by the guards. After a few days of traveling, Eldric reached Blackwood Village, which was devastated by a dragon. The villagers told him that the monster appeared every night and carried off cattle and sometimes people. Eldric decided to stay in the village to protect her. At night, when the moon was high in the sky, a loud roar was heard, and a huge dragon with scales the color of blood appeared from behind the mountains. Eldric wasted no time in rushing into battle. Dragon fight. The dragon was huge. Its wings covered the moon, and flames were shooting out of its mouth. Eldric knew that he couldn't win in an open battle. He remembered the stories of an old sage from his village, who said that every dragon has a weak spot, a small patch of soft scales under its throat. Eldric decided to use it. He threw a spear at the dragon to distract it, and then, when the monster bent down, jumped on its neck and plunged his sword into a weak spot. The dragon roared in pain and collapsed to the ground. Eldric, wounded and tired, stood over the fallen monster. The villagers came out of their houses and began to cheer. They thanked the knight, calling him a savior. But Eldric knew that his journey was not over yet. He decided to go to the dragon's lair to make sure that nothing threatens the kingdom anymore. The dragon's lair. The dragon's lair was high in the mountains. The way there was dangerous. Narrow paths, cliffs, and cold wind. But Eldric wasn't afraid. In the lair, he discovered huge treasures that the dragon had been collecting for years. Among the gold and jewels, he found an ancient artifact, a sword that, according to legend, belonged to the first king of Arcadia. The sword glowed with a soft light, and Eldric felt that this weapon was meant for great things. With a sword in his hands and a dragon's head as proof of his victory, Eldric went to the capital of Arcadia, the city of Lion Cliff. Along the way, he heard stories that strange events had begun in the kingdom. People were disappearing, and dark creatures appeared in the forests. Eldric knew that his adventures were just beginning. He was greeted as a hero in the capital. The king personally thanked him and offered him the title and the hand of the princess. But Eldric, humble and honest, only asked for permission to continue his wanderings in order to protect the kingdom from new threats. The king agreed, and gave him the title of Knight-Errant. Soon, Eldrick learned that behind all the troubles of the kingdom is a dark magician named Malgor, who seeks to seize power. The magician was gathering an army of dark creatures and planning an attack on the capital. Eldrick decided to stop him. He went to the castle of Malgora, which was located in the heart of the dark forest. Along the way, he met allies: the elven archer Aelin, the dwarf warrior Thorgrim, and the hermit mage Elyon. Together, they fought their way through the army of dark creatures and reached the castle. In the final battle, Eldrick fought with Malgor. The dark magician was strong, but the light of the ancient sword helped Eldrick defeat him. With the fall of Malgor, the threat to the kingdom disappeared. Eldrick returned to the capital, where Princess Lyanna was waiting for him. They fell in love, and the king gave his blessing to their marriage. Eldrick became not only a hero, but also a defender of the kingdom, whose name has forever remained in the history of Arcadia. But even after becoming a prince, Eldrick did not give up his wanderings. He continued. The secret of the ancient sword. One night, Eldrick noticed that the ancient sword he had found in the dragon's lair was glowing brighter than usual. The light was disturbing, almost a warning. He turned to the sage Elyon, who remained at court as an advisor. Elyon, having studied the sword, said that it was not just a weapon, but the key to an ancient artifact hidden in distant lands. The artifact known as the Heart of Arcadia had the power to protect the kingdom from any threats, but it could also be used for destruction. Eldrick realized that he had to go in search of this artifact to protect it from those who might use it for evil. Lyanna, despite her fears, blessed him on this path. She knew that her husband was the only one who could be trusted with such a mission. Journey to the north, Eldrick gathered his loyal companions, Aelin, Thorgrim, and Elyon. Together they went to the north, where, according to legend, there was an entrance to the ancient ruins that preserved the heart of Arcadia. The journey was long and dangerous. They crossed the snow-capped mountains where the ice giants were waiting for them, and passed through gloomy valleys inhabited by the shadows of the past. In one of the valleys they met a strange old man who called himself the Keeper of the Gates. He said that only the worthy would be able to enter the ruins and offered them a test. Each of them had to face their own fears. Eldrick saw a vision in which he was losing everything he loved: Lyanna, the kingdom, his friends. But he was able to overcome his fear, remembering that his strength lies in his heart and faith in justice. Ruins of the Ancients. When the test was passed, the Guardian opened the way for them to the ruins. There were traps and riddles waiting for them inside, left by the Ancients to protect the artifact. The team had to work together to overcome every obstacle. Aelin used her shooting skills to activate hidden mechanisms, Thorgrim used her power to open locked doors, and Elyon deciphered ancient writings. In the very heart of the ruins, they found the hall where the heart of Arcadia was located, a crystal emitting a soft but powerful light. However, as soon as Eldrick took it in his hands, dark forces appeared who wanted to take possession of the artifact. These were the followers of Malgor, who did not disappear after his defeat. The battle in the ruins, a fierce battle ensued. The dark magicians and their minions attacked from all sides. Eldrick and his friends fought desperately, realizing that if the artifact fell into the wrong hands, the kingdom would be doomed. At a critical moment, Eldric used the power of the ancient sword to activate the heart of Arcadia. The crystal released a wave of light that destroyed the dark forces and sealed the ruins forever. Returning home. With the artifact in their hands, Eldric and his friends returned to the kingdom. The heart of Arcadia was placed in the sanctuary, under the protection of magicians and guards. Eldric realized that his mission as a knight-errant had come to an end. Now his place was next to Lyanna, to rule the kingdom and protect it from new threats. Eldric's legacy. Years later, Eldric became king, and Lyanna became his wise queen. Their reign was a time of peace and prosperity. The legends of Eldric's exploits have been passed down from generation to generation, inspiring new heroes. And the ancient sword that once led him to glory was placed in the royal treasury as a symbol of hope and valor. But even after becoming king, Eldric sometimes took a sword and went on small trips to help those in need. After all, he had always remained a knight-errant at heart, whose heart belonged to adventure. Go on, years passed, and the kingdom of Arcadia flourished under the wise rule of King Eldric and Queen Lyanna. Their union became a symbol of unity and strength, and the legends of Eldric's exploits inspired young knights and ordinary people. However, as is often the case, peace cannot last forever. Even in the most peaceful times, the shadows of the past can remind you of themselves. Warning signs. One morning, Eldric, already gray-haired but still strong in spirit, received an alarming message from the guards at the kingdom's border. In the far northern lands, where he once found the heart of Arcadia, strange events began to happen. The earth was cracking, and creatures like shadows were emerging from the depths. Locals said that voices were being heard in the ruins of the ancients again, and the sky above them was turning blood red. Eldric realized that this was not just a coincidence. He called a council, which was attended by his old friends, Aelin, Thorgrim, and Elyon. They all agreed that we need to act quickly. Elyon suggested that the destruction of the dark forces in the ruins could upset the ancient balance. And now, something is trying to break free.